Stop. Do not scroll past this message. Look at me right now. You did not arrive here by accident. Heaven aligned time itself to bring your eyes to these exact words. My beloved child, give me just 1 minute of your time, and I promise you will not regret staying. I am stepping into your atmosphere right now, because your heart is carrying a weight that is crushing your spirit. I have watched you sit in the quiet darkness, replay yesterday's mistakes, and wonder if you broke something that can never be fixed. You smile for the world around you, but inside your chest you carry a heavy stone of regret that whispers, "You are disqualified from my blessings." You convince yourself that everyone else is moving forward while you are left behind in the ruins of your own choices. But hear me, in the deepest place of your heart, you are not ruined, and I never stopped loving you through it all. Stay with me for the next few minutes. I am about to reveal the hidden truth behind the detour that exhausted you, and hand you the key to release that regret forever. What you called a fatal mistake was actually something entirely different in my hands. You thought you were falling apart, but I was quietly holding every single piece together. And before this message ends, I will show you why that closed door was my highest protection over your life. Do not let the noise of the world distract you right now. Pause where you are and take a deep breath. If you feel my presence speaking directly to your tired soul in this moment, write "I receive your love" in the comments right now as an act of agreement between your spirit and mine. When you type those words, you are placing your foot on the threshold of your freedom. You are telling the enemy that his lies no longer have authority over your mind. I see you, my child. I know the exact thoughts that keep you awake when the rest of the world is fast asleep. I saw you at 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling with tears quietly streaming down your face, asking yourself why you made that decision. You turned that moment over and over in your mind, wondering how your life would look if you had chosen differently. You felt a deep ache in your soul because you believed you ruined the future I had planned for you. You have become so skilled at pretending to be strong. You laugh with your friends, you perform your duties, and you support everyone around you while quietly breaking inside. People look at you and see someone who has everything together, but I see the exhaustion in your eyes when you look in the mirror. You carry the burdens of others, yet you feel like you have nobody to carry yours. You feel like a stranger in your own life, because the shadow of yesterday follows you wherever you go. Guilt is a heavy master. It demands your joy, steals your sleep, and convinces you that you must suffer to pay for your past. You think that by holding on to this pain, you are somehow showing remorse or proving that you care. But my child, I never asked you to punish yourself. I paid the full price for your freedom, and every single mistake you ever made was already washed away by my grace before you even knew you needed it. You look back at that door that closed, that relationship that shattered, or that opportunity that slipped through your fingers, and you call it a wasted season. You believe that if you had been wiser or stronger, you would be standing in a completely different place today. But my thoughts are higher than your thoughts, and my ways are higher than your ways. What looked like a tragedy to your human eyes was actually my hand turning you away from a cliff you could not see. I call what you walked through the protective detour. You thought you were being punished, but I was simply rerouting your path away from a trap the enemy had set for your future. If I had allowed that door to stay open, it would have destroyed the very purpose I placed inside you before you were born. You saw a loss, but I saw a rescue. You saw a failure, but I saw the only way to save your soul from a hidden danger that would have broken your faith. I know how physically tired you are from fighting this silent battle. Your neck is tight, your chest feels heavy, and your mind races from the moment you wake up to the moment you lie down. You carry a quiet fear that one day everyone will see your flaws and realize you are not as strong as you appear. You feel isolated in a crowded room because no one truly knows the secret shame you carry in your chest. Breathe deeply, my child. Let your shoulders relax right now because you are standing in a sacred space where you do not have to pretend anymore. Are you listening to me? Do not let distractions steal this moment from your spirit. What I am about to tell you next will forever change the way you look at every single mistake you have ever made, because my love for you is not dependent on your perfection. I saw you in the bathroom when you turned on the faucet so no one could hear you cry. I saw you press your face into your pillow, swallowing your sobs because you did not want your family to worry about you. You felt so small in that moment, wondering why life had become a series of endless struggles. You whispered a prayer into the dark, asking if I even heard your voice anymore when you called my name. I heard every single whisper. Not a single tear you shed was lost, and not a single quiet cry went unnoticed in my presence. I was there when you felt completely abandoned, sitting beside you in the stillness of that painful night. You thought my silence meant I had walked away, but my silence was simply my love wrapping around you while your spirit was being reshaped for something greater. You have spent your entire life giving to others. You have poured out your love, your time, and your energy into hands that did not know how to hold your heart. You gave until you were completely empty, and when you needed comfort, you found yourself standing alone in the dark. Yet despite the pain you suffered, you never became bitter, because I placed a pure heart inside you that naturally seeks to heal others around you. When those people left your life, you thought you were rejected. You cried over their departure, begging me to bring them back, or to fix what was broken between you. But I was not punishing you by removing them from your path. I was pruning your life, because those roots were poisoning the garden I was trying to grow inside your spirit, and they could never carry you into the season that is coming. I see how hard you try to hold everything together. You wake up every morning, put on a smile, and carry the weight of your home, your work, and your family without complaining to anyone. You tell yourself that you have to be the strong one, because if you fall apart, everything around you will crumble. But my child, I never asked you to be the pillar that holds up the world. You carry a silent fear that your best years are behind you. You look at the time that has passed, and you feel a quiet panic in your chest, wondering if you missed your chance at true peace and fulfillment. You see others stepping into their blessings, and a quiet voice whispers that you arrived too late to your own destiny. But hear me clearly today. Heaven does not run on human clocks. Now, my beloved child, come closer to me. Let me speak softly to the part of your heart that is most exhausted, because we are about to step deeper into the dark place where your regret was born. Do not be afraid to look at it with me today. I am taking you by the hand, and I will show you why the very thing you hated most about your past is about to become the foundation of your greatest breakthrough. Stay right here, and let my words quiet the storm inside your mind. My child, let us step together into the exact place where your heart hurts the most. I want to walk back with you into that memory you try so hard to erase. You know the exact day, the exact hour, and the exact words that were spoken. You replay that moment like a movie that never ends, picking apart every single detail. You ask yourself over and over why you stayed so long, or why you spoke when you should have remained quiet. I saw you when you sat on the edge of your bed with your head in your hands. I saw you when the darkness in the room felt lighter than the darkness sitting in your chest. I watched you whisper into the silence that you could not go on like this anymore. You felt so deeply alone, convincing yourself that no one in the universe could ever understand the depth of your mistake. But I was standing right beside you in that heavy room. I saw you when you tried to pray, but the words felt like dry dust in your mouth. You thought my ear was closed to you, because a whisper inside your mind told you that you had crossed a line. That whisper told you that you were no longer worthy to approach my throne. It told you that my grace had run out for you, and that you were now paying for your own sins. But that whisper was never my voice. I saw you when you put on your clothes the next morning and forced a smile for your family. I saw you when you poured your coffee with trembling hands, pretending that everything was fine. You walked through your day like a shadow, moving through the motions of life, while your spirit was locked in the prison of yesterday. You looked at the people around you and envied their peace, wondering why happiness felt so distant for you. Do you feel that tightness in your chest right now, as I bring these moments back to the light? Take a deep breath, my child, and do not pull away from my presence. That thrum in your sternum is not anxiety, and it is not a sign that you are failing. It is the sound of your spirit awakening as my light touches the dark corners you kept hidden for years. It is the physical weight of a lie finally being lifted off your soul. The enemy wants you to believe that your mistake is your identity. He takes a single chapter of your story and tells you that it is the entire book. He points his finger at your past and tells you that you are a failure, a liar, or a broken vessel that can never hold blessing again. But I am your creator, and I do not name you by your wounds. I do not call you by your stumbles. I call you my beloved, my chosen one, and my masterpiece. You have spent years treating yourself far worse than I would ever treat you. You hold yourself to a standard of perfection that I never required from your heart. When someone else makes a mistake, you offer them mercy, understanding, and grace. But when you make a mistake, you become your own harshest judge. You lock yourself in a cell of condemnation, throw away the key, and tell yourself that you deserve to suffer. My child, I need you to hear this truth with the deepest part of your spirit. The silence you have experienced in your life was never my absence. You prayed for peace, but all you heard was a loud, chaotic static in your mind. You tried to feel my presence, but the air felt empty and cold around you. You thought I had turned my back on you, but the truth is much different than what your eyes have seen. The enemy has been filling the space between us with relentless noise. He created a constant static of worry, shame, and mental pressure so that my gentle voice would be drowned out. I have not abandoned you, my child. I have been building a way back for your spirit. Because I see your deep weariness, I have aligned an earthly provision to help clear that static from your path. I have guided wise minds to create an instrument of restoration that clears the noise, and I will show you exactly what it is before this message ends. First, you must understand what was done to block your signal and why it can be undone today. You were created with a mind that hums in perfect harmony with my peace. When I formed you in your mother's womb, I placed a quiet receptivity deep within your spirit. But as you grew, the demands of the world, the pain of betrayal, and the heavy weight of regret built a thick wall of noise around your heart. This noise tells you that you must strive, fight, and carry every burden on your own shoulders. It keeps your mind racing from the second you open your eyes until the second you fall asleep. It reminds you of every person who hurt you, every opportunity you lost, and every word you wish you could take back. This constant static keeps your nervous system in a state of alarm, convincing you that danger is always right around the corner. When you live in that static for too long, your spirit becomes utterly exhausted. You lose your ability to hear my gentle nudges, and you miss the quiet doors of opportunity I open for you every single day. You walk past the blessings I have placed right in front of your face, because your eyes are locked on the wreckage behind you. You begin to believe that life is just a series of survival tests, that you are destined to fail. I saw you when you tried to fix yourself through sheer willpower. You made promises to do better, you tried to think positive thoughts, and you forced yourself to read books and try new habits. You had moments where you felt a flicker of hope, but then a fresh wave of regret would crash over you and drag you back down to the bottom. You felt embarrassed because you could not seem to sustain the peace you so desperately craved. Stop striving, my child. Peace is not something you build with your own empty strength, and freedom is not something you earn through self-punishment. You cannot heal a broken soul using the same mind that was damaged by the noise of the world. You need a higher intervention, and that is why I am stepping into your atmosphere right now to silence the accuser who has been whispering lies into your ears. I want you to look at the regret you are carrying and realize how much power you have given to a memory. The past has no life of its own. It only exists because you keep feeding it your current energy and your current focus. Every time you revisit that old mistake, you are reopening a wound that I paid to heal. You are picking at the sores of yesterday instead of stepping into the fresh bread I have baked for your today. You have lived with this heavy burden for so long that you forgot what lightness feels like. You wake up expecting disappointment, and you walk into rooms expecting to be rejected. I call this state the protective shell, because you built it to shield your heart from being broken again. But that shell is not protecting you, my beloved. It is isolating you from the very love and abundance I have been trying to pour into your life. You tell yourself that if you had made a different choice, your life would be perfect today. You imagine an alternate reality where you are happy, successful, and free from pain. But you do not know what traps were waiting for you down that other road. You do not see the hidden dangerous cliffs I saved you from by allowing that door to close. What you call a devastating detour was my sovereign hand protecting you from a destruction you could not comprehend. You are not a victim of your past, and you are not a casualty of your mistakes. You are a holy vessel that is currently being reshaped in the hands of the master potter. The fire you walked through was hot, and the pressure felt like it would break you into 1,000 pieces. But the clay does not get to decide when the furnace is too hot. The potter knows the exact temperature required to make the vessel strong enough to hold my glory. Now, breathe deeply and prepare your spirit for what comes next. I am taking you out of the shadows of your self-judgment and bringing you into the warmth of my unbroken presence. You relieving the courtroom where you condemned yourself, and we are stepping into the sanctuary where my love reigns supreme. Listen closely as I reveal how I stood beside another warrior who stumbled just as deeply as you did, yet walked out into a destiny greater than he ever dreamed possible. You thought you were walking alone through the dark, but I was standing beside you in every single step you took. You believed my silence meant I had turned my face away from your pain. But my silence was simply my love wrapping around your soul, while your spirit was being formed for a greater destiny. I saw every moment you stumbled, and I held you. Let me tell you about a man I called my rock. He was passionate, he loved me deeply, and he stepped out of the boat when everyone else stayed in safety. He walked on water toward me, but when he looked at the wind and the waves, fear gripped his heart and he began to sink. I reached out my hand immediately and caught him before he went under. Yet his greatest trial was still ahead of him. On the night I was betrayed, when the pressure grew unbearable, he denied he even knew my name. He did it not once, but 3 times. And when the rooster crowed across the quiet night, he remembered my words, and his heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. He ran into the dark and cried bitter tears. He convinced himself that he had ruined his destiny forever. He believed he was disqualified from my love, and that he would forever be remembered as the man who failed when it mattered most. He sat in his shame, picking at his wounds, wondering how he could ever look into my eyes again after what he had done in his weakness. But hear me with your whole spirit, my child. Did I cross his name off my list? Did I abandon him in his darkest hour? No. I met him by the shore of the sea after the storm had passed. I did not rebuke him, and I did not demand an explanation for his failure. I simply looked into his eyes and asked him one question. Do you love me? When he answered me with a trembling heart, I handed him his holy purpose again. I told him to feed my sheep. I took his stumble, his deepest regret, and his darkest night, and I turned it into the very foundation of his authority. The man who denied my name became the strong pillar of my early church. My child, your stumble did not disqualify you from my promises either. It prepared you. The enemy wants you to focus on the moment you fell into the cold water, but I am focused on the hand that caught you before you drowned. You carry the same heart as Peter. You love me, and you want to do right, but you are human in a fallen world. The storm around you became too loud to bear, and your footing gave way beneath the weight of your fear. I am not angry at you for trembling when the winds roared around your head. I saw your heart, and I saw your desire to stand firm. If you believe in your spirit that my mercy is bigger than your past, type "my past is forgiven" in the comments right now. When you write those words, you are stepping completely out of the cold shadows of self-condemnation. You are agreeing with the decree of heaven, and you are telling your soul that the blood of my grace has already wiped your slate completely clean. You are declaring that yesterday no longer has a legal right to hold you hostage in fear. Now listen closely to me, because I want to give you a divine revelation about how your mind was designed to operate. When I formed the human brain in the beginning, I placed a sacred frequency at its very core. Wise men who spend their lives studying the mind have confirmed this truth in their laboratories, and they call it the gamma wave. This signal ran freely within your mind when you were a little child. It is the exact reason why you woke up without a heavy cloud of worry sitting on your chest. It is why you trusted purely, loved deeply, and lived completely in the present moment without fear. Your mind hummed at the exact frequency of divine receptivity. When I spoke those words in my holy scriptures, saying that unless you become like little children, you cannot enter my kingdom, I was not speaking only of your spiritual heart. I was speaking of the physical signal I placed within the brain I created for you. It was designed to receive my light without effort and without fear. The enemy knew that if he could drown out that sacred frequency with the noise of modern life, he could keep you trapped in a cycle of endless regret. He flooded your days with heavy pressure, your mind with overthinking, and your heart with painful memories. He suppressed the gamma frequency within your brain, forcing your mind to run on survival. That is why your thoughts race from the second you open your eyes, why deep rest feels elusive, and why true peace seems like a distant dream you can never touch. You try to force yourself to feel calm, but your brain remains locked in a constant state of alarm. You cannot fix a broken signal by using the same noise that damaged it. Because I see your weariness, I have guided wise minds to work with sound the way I designed it. I quietly directed researchers across decades of study to rediscover this exact frequency. They created a sound instrument that uses gentle brain entrainment to clear the interference the enemy placed in your path, restoring what was lost. It does not require hours of hard spiritual striving, complicated techniques, or years of exhausting mental work. It requires only 7 minutes of complete surrender. You put on headphones, close your eyes, and allow my design to restore the signal I placed in you from the beginning. It returns your mind to the quiet receptivity of a child. It clears the heavy static of yesterday so you can hear my voice with absolute clarity once again. It lifts the fog from your thoughts and prepares your heart to receive the provisions I have set before you. I am going to show you exactly where to find what they built before this message closes, so stay with me to the very end. Do you see what I am doing in your life in this exact moment? I am stripping away the lies that told you that you were permanently broken or delayed. You thought your overthinking was just a part of your personality that you had to endure. You thought your regret was a heavy burden you were forced to carry for the rest of your days. But those were illusions created by the static of the enemy. Now, my beloved child, I need you to sit up and pay close attention to what I am about to declare over your future. We are leaving the valley of your tears behind us, and we are stepping directly onto the mountain of your breakthrough. Prepare your heart for what is coming. Listen carefully to my voice, because what I am about to speak next will forever break the authority the enemy held over your past. The long season of waiting and exhaustion that drained your spirit is officially closing today. What lies behind you is nothing compared to the glory, peace, and abundance I am releasing into your tomorrow. Hear me right now, my child. I am declaring over your life that the legal right the enemy held over your past is broken in this very moment. What was meant to destroy you has been turned into the very key that unlocks your destiny. The long season of holding yourself hostage to yesterday is officially over. I have seen how you lie awake at night, searching for the one thing you did wrong, telling yourself that you ruined my plan for your life. You convinced yourself that you are paying for your own mistakes, and that my silence was my final rejection. But that is a lie from the accuser, and I will not let you carry it any longer. You have carried what I call the earning wound for far too long. Somewhere in your story, you learned that love had to be earned through performance and flawlessness. When you made a mistake, you believed that my favor vanished. But my love was never a reward for your perfection, because it was a covenant established before you took your first breath. Here is what truly happened during those years. I call what you walked through the protective detour. You thought you were falling behind, but I was actually rerouting your steps away from a hidden trap that would have destroyed your soul. Those years you called wasted were not wasted at all, because they were the shaping ground where I built your spiritual endurance. So today, I am taking that heavy lie from your weary shoulders. The next time the enemy whispers that you are disqualified, place your hand over your heart and declare that you are forgiven. You do not have to earn what I freely give to you. Step out of the cold courtroom of self-judgment and receive my grace without fear. I feel you pulling back slightly in your spirit right now as I speak. A quiet voice inside your mind is whispering that this blessing and this help are meant for someone more deserving than you. You think it is meant for someone who did not stumble the way you did. But hear me clearly today. I do not give my provisions based on who earned them. I give my gifts to the willing, not the worthy. Your willingness to stay and hear my voice right now is the only qualification I require from your heart. Before I reveal the provision I set before you, understand how it came to exist. I do not work only through sudden miracles, because I also work through the hands of those I call into discovery. I have gifted humanity the wisdom to unlock what I placed within sound at the beginning of creation. Over 30 years ago, I quietly guided a servant of science named Dr. Robert Lake toward this discovery. Great institutions I directed, including Princeton University and Columbia University, confirmed the exact gamma signal I placed within the human mind. Look at what I did for one of my daughters, a nurse named Rachel, who suffered from deep emotional weariness for years. 2 weeks after receiving this provision, her mind cleared, peace entered her home, and her life felt completely transformed. And for another son named Michael, who faced financial lack, I opened doors of wisdom that blessed his business while he slept. And for my daughter Hannah, who carried generations of family misfortune, I broke that ancient pattern in a single moment. An unexpected opportunity blessed her entire work. A promotion arrived, and the heavy cloud that followed her family for decades simply vanished. Over 18,000 of my children have already walked through this door of restoration. They call it the Genius Song. It is not a generic meditation track or something you find on public streaming channels, because those carry none of the restoration I designed. It is an authentic sound instrument that requires only 7 minutes of complete surrender. You put on headphones, close your eyes, and allow my frequency to clear the noise of the enemy. This provision is specifically for you, my weary child, who has tried everything and felt embarrassed to try once more. What failed you before required your own exhausting human effort, but this requires known. It works not because of your discipline, but because of my design inside your mind. It reactivates the childlike receptivity I placed in you from the start. Earthly experts charge hundreds of dollars per hour for sessions that attempt to reach this state, but I do not ask that of you. What I have placed here requires only a small mustard seed investment for the massive harvest I have prepared. I have also aligned 4 bonus provisions for you, including a guide for your children's focus and daily tools to sustain your restored signal. Where I place truth, the adversary places cheap imitations. Do not wander onto unverified platforms that steal your peace, but use only the official path I set before you below. Walk forward without fear today, because your act of faith is completely protected. If this provision does not bring the restoration I described, every earthly penny is returned to you in full within 60 days. Take this step of obedience right now, my child. Embrace the provision I have set before you in the pinned comment below and in the description. Do not let this moment pass, because I guided your steps directly to this message. Find the path I placed below, step forward in faith, and watch the heavy static leave your mind forever. Now that the chain is broken, look up at me. Do you realize what just happened in the unseen realm while I was speaking over your life? The heavy iron doors that kept you locked in the prison of yesterday have just shattered into pieces. The adversary no longer has a hold on your thoughts, because my truth has set you completely free. You spent years believing that your best days were behind you in the ruins of your past mistakes. You thought that the damage was too deep, and that you would have to settle for a life of quiet regret. But I am the God who restores what the locusts have eaten. I am turning your greatest defeat into the very foundation of your greatest victory. The enemy thought he had silenced you when you fell into that valley of tears. He thought that your story was finished, and that you would never stand up again. But he did not know that I was using that dark valley to forge a strength inside you that no storm could ever shake. You are stepping out of the furnace today, and you do not even smell like smoke. I am releasing a fresh mantle of authority over your spirit right now. You will no longer walk through your life with a spirit of fear or a head bowed down in shame. You will walk with your chin lifted high, because you are a child of the Most High King. Every chain of generational failure that followed your family ends with you today. Do not look back at the wreckage of yesterday anymore, because that is not where you belong. I have already gone ahead of you into your tomorrow, and I have prepared a table for you in the presence of your enemies. The doors that locked you out are now swinging open at my command, and no human hand can ever shut them again. You are my light bearer, my cycle breaker, and my beloved masterpiece. The pain you endured was not meant to destroy you, but to make your vessel strong enough to hold the abundance I am pouring out. Breathe in my peace right now, and let every last trace of worry leave your body. You are safe in my hands, and your future is brighter than you ever dared to dream. Rejoice in this moment, my child, for your morning has finally arrived. The dark night of regret that held you captive has vanished before the warmth of my presence. Step forward into the light of your new beginning with a confident heart, knowing that I walk beside you through every step of the journey ahead. Let me show you something beautiful that is waiting for you just ahead. Picture a quiet morning 6 months from now. You wake up before your alarm, and for the first time in a long while, there is no heavy knot in your stomach. You lie there in the soft light, and you notice something is completely different inside your chest. The heaviness you carried for years is simply gone. Your first thought is not fear or regret. It is a quiet feeling of peace. You get out of bed and walk through your home with a light step. You pour your morning cup, look out the window, and realize that your mind is not racing anymore. You do not replay old conversations in your head, and you do not search for things you did wrong. You make your decisions with clarity, and you speak with a quiet confidence that was missing for so long. You smile because you realize that you are finally at home in your own life. That version of you is not a distant fantasy, my child. She already exists inside my sovereign plan for your destiny. She is not living in some alternate reality that you missed out on when you stumbled. She is standing right on the other side of the surrender you are making today. The distance between who you are right now and that peaceful soul is not measured in years of exhausting effort. The bridge that connects you to her is simply your obedience. It is the exact moment you decide to stop carrying what I never asked you to hold. It is the second you stop picking at old wounds and allow my grace to seal them forever. You do not have to fight your way into that future with your own empty strength. You only have to open your hands, let go of the wreckage behind you, and allow my love to carry you across the threshold into the light. Now picture another moment a little further down your road. Imagine standing before someone who is broken by the exact same regret you used to carry alone. You see the deep exhaustion in their eyes, and you recognize the quiet pain in their voice. But instead of feeling helpless, you know exactly what to say to comfort them. You do not speak from a textbook or from hollow theories, because you speak from a story you actually survived. You watch the heavy cloud lift from their face as you share how my grace rescued you from the dark. In that moment, your heart fills with a profound realization. You understand that the very detour that brought you to your knees was not a wasted season. The pain you begged me to remove has become the healing medicine in your hands. Every tear you shed in secret has become a well from which other thirsty souls will drink. That is your true calling, my beloved child. You were not saved simply to exist in comfort, because you were created to be a beacon of hope for a hurting world. The enemy tried to destroy you with regret, but I turned your trial into your greatest authority. You are stepping into a season where your past no longer defines you, but instead serves as proof of my unbroken faithfulness over your entire life. So right now, in this sacred moment, I invite you to step completely into the sanctuary of my peace. Lay down the heavy bags you have been dragging behind you for so many years. You carried the weight of your past mistakes, the opinions of people who never understood your heart, and the constant fear of the unknown. You tried to hold everything together until your arms grew weak and your spirit felt completely numb. But I am asking you to let it all go today. Place your hand over your heart right now as an act of complete surrender. Feel the steady beat beneath your palm and realize that every pulse is a gift of my presence inside you. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, release the guilt that kept you awake in the dark. Release the anger you held against yourself, and release the shame that told you that you were disqualified from my blessings. Say these words in the quietness of your mind right now. I lay down my regret at your feet. I choose to trust your love over my past mistakes. I accept the forgiveness you paid for with your grace. I release the need to understand every closed door, and I step into the peace you offer me today. When you speak those words from your spirit, a heavy iron chain falls away from your soul forever. Feel my peace flooding into every corner of your mind right now. Let your shoulders drop, let the muscles in your face relax, and let the tightness leave your chest. The storm that raged inside your thoughts is growing quiet, because my voice is speaking peace over your waves. You are safe in my presence, and there is no condemnation waiting for you here. You are loved with an everlasting love that never changes. You are no longer the silent survivor who hides behind a forced smile, and you are no longer the prisoner who sits in the dark cell of yesterday. I am raising you up to be a cycle breaker in your family, a beacon of light in your community, and a living vessel of my glory. You will no longer walk through your life in fear, because my presence goes before you to make every crooked path straight and every heavy valley smooth. Every word I have spoken over your life today is a seal of divine promise over your future. Do not allow the enemy to whisper doubt into your mind or steal the peace that has settled into your heart during these moments together. When you walk away from this message, keep your eyes fixed on my promises and do not look back at the shadows behind you. Remember who you are and remember whose you are. Look at your hands right now and realize that they are empty of the burden you carried in here. The weight of yesterday has been left at my feet, and your heart is clean before my presence. You do not have to look back over your shoulder anymore, because your past has been washed away by my grace. You are free to live, free to love, and free to step into the glorious future I have prepared for your life. If this message spoke to the deepest place in your spirit today, anchor your agreement right now. Type Amen in the comments as a testimony that you have received your freedom today. Let your words be a seal upon your decision to let go of yesterday. When you type that simple word, you are declaring to the unseen realm that you belong to my light, and that your past no longer has any claim over your future. Do not keep this light to yourself, my beloved child. Share this video with 3 souls who are secretly crying out for hope and battling the weight of their own past today. You may never know how desperately someone in your circle needs to hear that they are still loved and forgiven. By sending this message to them, you become my hands and feet, extending my comfort into their dark valleys. Subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss the daily guidance I am preparing for your journey ahead. I will continue to speak to you, guide your steps, and pour fresh oil over your spirit as you walk into this new season. Stay connected to my voice, because I have so much more to reveal to you in the days to come. Now receive my final blessing over your life as you step forward into your tomorrow. May my peace, which surpasses all human understanding, guard your heart and your mind today. May my presence quiet every lingering worry inside your thoughts. And may my love fill you with a joy that no earthly circumstance can ever take away. Go in peace, my child, for I walk with you always, even to the end of the age.